Quên. Bừa quá.
Xong lại đi.
Lu. Chết rồi, phòng bừa quá. Hello, hôm nay là ngày 31, ngày cuối cùng của tháng 7 rồi. Sắp sang tháng 8 rồi. Hôm nay thì về hơi muộn, mình định tầm 6 giờ bắt đầu về rồi. Nhưng mà tự dưng việc nó lại đến. Công ty và mai thì là deadline rồi, cho nên là mình ở lại cùng với đồng nghiệp trong công ty để sửa, cố tìm ra cái lỗi đấy để sửa. Thì cuối cùng thì đến tầm khoảng 7 giờ kém cũng xong, 7 giờ hơn chứ. Nhưng mà
cái cam nó lệch.
7 giờ hơn cũng xong, nhưng mà lúc xong thì bắt đầu trời nó lại mưa. Thế là thôi ngồi chờ một chút, bởi vì thực ra mưa to lắm, mưa to dã man luôn. Thế là mình ngồi đến tầm 7 rưỡi thì thôi thì cũng không về sớm làm gì nữa, bởi vì tờ về tầm đấy thì cũng muộn rồi. Thế là thôi đi ăn ở ngoài, ra ngoài ăn. Hai thằng mình với thằng cùng công ty đi ăn. Thằng em nó cùng team mà nó mới vào Hà Nội hôm thứ bảy, và hôm nay là buổi đầu tiên nó lên công ty, mà bắt nó làm đến hơn 7 giờ. Thì ăn uống xong thì mình vừa mới về đến nhà lúc 8:40. Nhưng mà có một cái podcast của MKBHD mới ra sáng nay luôn. Một cái podcast này thì đã được giới thiệu từ hôm thứ bảy từ podcast thứ 7 tuần trước rồi, về cái việc là không phải podcast thứ 7 mà là một cái clip của MKBHD từ thứ 6 hay là thứ 5 tuần trước gì đấy. Nó giới thiệu về cái việc là MKBHD đã từng được FBI hỏi thăm và kiểu làm việc với FBI á. Nên là mình khá tò mò về cái podcast này. Nên là hôm nay mình mặc dù bây giờ cũng muộn rồi, 8:51 rồi, 9 giờ rồi, mình sẽ xem cái podcast này trong buổi hôm nay, 1 tiếng 34 phút, 10 giờ, 9 giờ, 10 rưỡi mới xong cả. Thôi sẽ xem luôn nha. Hey guys,
What is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marquez.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm David.
And happy Friday. Just kidding. It's not Friday. This is a bonus episode. I'm sorry, it is Tuesday still. But that's a fun thing. We get a little extra stuff this time. And we decided that we would we had like a bunch of stories over the past couple years that we all realized we haven't like fully told. And this episode is just a story time episode.
Sorry. Từ nãy giờ bị gió à? Quên. Bừa quá.
Xong lại đi.
Lu. Chết rồi, phòng bừa quá. Muộn, mình định tầm. Ok, không gió đâu.
So just putting those stories all in one place, which I think is a really fun idea. If you haven't already seen the main channel video,
I've seen it.
I think we're going to try to have that go live the same day as this. That's one of the most interesting stories, which is the day that the FBI surprised me at the studio. And you can go watch that video if you want.
Sao mình thấy cái mic nó hơi ồn nhỉ?
Surprised me at the studio. And you can go watch that video if you want.
Không phải thôi. Sao mình thấy cái mic nó hơi ồn nhỉ?
Full story. But we have some other ones too that are kind of also interesting in their own way. So
I think the best way to listen to this episode is sit down on the carpet,
on a carpet.
cross your legs, story time.
In front of a fire.
A fire would be nice, except it's like 90 degrees Fahrenheit here. But yeah, we have some cool ones. The Dyson sponsorship going wrong. I think people kind of remember that. There was a point where pretty much most Formula One fans hated Marquez for a few weeks that I think will be a fun one to talk about. We have a long form episode that David and Adam worked on, and it never came to fruition.
We tried,
which is pretty fun. And
I wasn't here yet.
It's because Ellis wasn't here yet, and some other
In
some
our
other
defense,
fun ones.
Ellis is here now, and we still.
Yeah, I really gave it the old
we
college try.
chased it for a while.
So let's hop in. Can I go first?
Yeah. First story.
Can we talk about how the autofocus name and kind of channel came to be?
I would love for you to tell that story. That is the single best YouTube channel name I have ever seen. I'm not.
Từ sao mình cứ tưởng cái clip này nó sẽ toàn bộ liên quan đến cái vụ FBI này, nhưng mà hóa ra nó rất là nhiều những cái phần nhỏ, cho nên mình sẽ xem hết đến đây đi, hết phần FBI đi, rồi buổi sau xem tiếp.
Biased,
That's true.
but autofocus is a great name for YouTube.
The name of it is kind of what like pushed us harder into all of it. So like when I first started, I remember one of the first emails you ever sent me was like, I'd be interested in like, we need some help. Here's some cool stuff that we do. By the way, I just got an email about this company that has a stream of supercars coming in that we can like film. And I was like, oh, that sounds crazy. Like that's one of those things. We make a joke here at this job where when anyone starts, somehow a Ferrari shows up in like the first month, which I think makes everyone think working here is pretty cool. But anyways, I had started, it was a few months in, and you and I were still playing on an Ultimate Team together. And on that long car ride out to Pennsylvania in the middle of nowhere, I was just thinking about, we had done like one Tesla video, maybe one or two Tesla videos, just because you had one. And I was like, I want to do more car things. We have this opportunity for these like supercars, and was just thinking, because all your best ideas come when you can't write anything down.
Yep.
Facts.
And I was just like thinking of cameras and cars, and I was like, autofocus. Oh, wait, that should be a series name. Like cameras and cars in one thing. The focus of it is auto, but we shoot with cameras. People know we like cameras. Let's put that together. And I remember like racing to the fields, parking, seeing Marquez with his bag, walking up to the fields that we were going to play on. And I like ran to him and I was like, Marquez, we have these opportunities for cars. I know we're not doing a lot of car things, but what if we named the series Autofocus? And you were just like, yes, that's it. We've done it.
We got to do that. Yeah.
And I feel like that's what started. That's what helped start. I shouldn't say you were interested in cars,
Yeah.
but having it differentiate that, because when we do car stuff, people would be less interested in it at first. People were like,
new.
I want phones. Why aren't you covering the
It's a
Windows
little different
Surface
from the normal
laptop?
thing.
instead?
Yeah.
So,
That was the genesis of that channel name. And then we immediately were like, well, does this exist anywhere else? We got to find it. We made sure no one else had it. We made the channel, and then the logo, and the rest.
Well, yeah, it was just a series for a while. Then it was the channel. Now it's a channel with an extra producer and over 1 million subs.
True.
It's kind of wild.
I remember when that first started becoming a thing, because I had just started here, and one of the first cars that you got when I was here was the Rivian. So you were outside, we're like getting B-roll and everything, looking at the car, checking it out, and then you just pull out your phone and you're like, I think I'm gonna do this video on my phone. And we were like,
Oh, yeah.
the whole thing? And you're like, yeah. And we were like, okay. And you went back, dropped the red back off in the studio, came back out and shot the whole thing on your phone, and that was the first video go up on autofocus.
Yeah. Dang.
That's awesome.
It was the Rivian was the first car?
Yeah, it was like a living with it,
The R1T.
some sort of miles update. I think 10,000 miles, something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, 500 miles, R1T.
That's crazy, because my car that I've had since January 2021 only has 25,000 miles on it, and I have like done road trips with it.
Yeah.
I don't know how you drive that.
Yeah.
I put a lot of miles on. I have
This is
almost 10,000
crazy.
miles on my car now. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good time.
I was just looking
10,000
at my-
10,000.
on the Porsche?
Yeah.
You just got it.
Marquez, dude, when Marquez got that, he wanted to drive it so bad. Jono and I invited him to play disc golf. It was pouring rain outside, and he shows up in the Turbo S, plays a whole round of disc golf, which he's never really played before, in the soaking wet. We were like, he's gonna never do this again. And he's like, that was awesome, and then like takes off his shoes and puts on an extra pair of shoes he had, and gets back in his car and just drives away. I was like, I cannot believe he drove that here.
How far is that?
It wasn't. It was maybe an hour from you, but you were just like, I want to drive it as much as I can because I have to get through this break-in period. So he was willing to drive pouring rain.
If you go back and watch the first Triple F studio
200 nghìn
video,
đô
which I
cho
just
mấy à?
watched recently,
Chỉ một
there's a
mấy trăm nghìn.
beautiful moment where you watch
300 nghìn.
you watch Marquez
200 nghìn.
decide he's gonna buy this car like 6 or 7 months before he bought it. It's like
Very
it's,
much.
I forgot how funny a moment is. Like he's like playing. He's like, oh, this car is really good. He's like giving his review, and then at one point he goes, oh no.
yeah, and then shuts the
no.
door and starts screaming. Yeah.
Yeah, that I remember that. There was like I'd watched videos of cars, but you can only watch so many videos versus like sitting in the car. So that was the moment where it went from below 50% chance to above 50% chance. Okay.
Next one.
Next story.
Okay.
David and Adam, can you take this one away?
All right. So this is a long-standing thing that has happened for years here. In California, if you are listening to this, somewhere around Fremont, which is where the original Tesla manufacturing facility is. And
That's
where
how
Tesla
long
was
ago
located.
this was.
Wow,
Yeah,
bật điện.
yeah. It was. I think it was before they had made the what is it called? The
Model Y.
Cái tối.
the Gigafactory.
It was before Model Y was just coming out.
Was it really that long ago? Jeez. Okay. Well, okay. And this stretches so long because the license plate has moved cars as well, which is
I
crazy.
didn't know that actually.
Yeah. So way back in the day, there was a post on Reddit that was like, "Is this Marquez?" And it was a picture of a Model 3 with the license plate MKBHD. And obviously no, because it was licensed in California. We're in New Jersey, very far away.
Yeah.
And every now and then, like every few months, someone randomly on Twitter will just be like, "I just saw MKBHD in California."
Hey, this you?
Like, no, it's not.
You, bro?
And they would post photos of it in like a little shopping center or like somewhere. It was always somewhere in Fremont or very close to
Yeah,
Fremont.
just driving around.
So Adam and I just started, and we were like, what's some fun stuff that we can do for Waveform, like extra bonus episodes and stuff like that. And we had been working on some bonus episodes. We made the Rise and Fall of Boosted Boards episode, which if you haven't heard that, it's audio only. You should go listen to it. I think it's one of my favorite episodes
It's
we've made.
fantastic.
Super cool. But we decided that we were going to try to figure out who has this license plate and then invite them onto the podcast to talk about why they got the license plate. So Adam and I started digging. We put a lot of posts out being like, hey, if this is you, we'd like to talk to you. We didn't get anything. But then there was a picture that was posted of this car in the parking lot of the Fremont factory.
Tesla factory.
And this
Tesla
would happen with like people would post this on Twitter and we would see it like, oh, posted 6 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And we would like DM the person immediately, like, oh my God,
Can you
where
go
are
talk
you?
to
Where,
them?
yeah,
Yeah.
Can you talk to them?
Yeah, so we actually ended up calling the Fremont factory, of which we have potentially still have the audio from, because that call was hilarious. So
California is. I don't think
we
it's-
told them we were recording.
Yeah, it's a 2-state.
Oh, okay.
Or
yeah.
a 2-party.
Just I didn't want. They were like, we know you're recording.
We told them we were recording, and we said, "Is this okay?" And they said yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so we ended up calling the Tesla Fremont factory and being like, "Hey, we work at this YouTube channel. We believe that one of your employees potentially has this plate. Is there any way that we could like get in contact with them?" And they're like, "Oh, you're the MKBHD channel. Yeah, we love you over here." And we were like, "Yeah, like, can you please get in contact with us?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll send an email to the guy letting him know and try to get him to get in contact with you guys."
Yeah, he was like, I can't confirm or deny anything, but I'll let the guy know.
I'll let him know. We get nothing. We just get no message from this guy.
Super mysterious.
It's super weird and super mysterious. And then a few months later, it used to be on a Model 3, a blue Model 3. We see another tweet where it's on a blue Model Y. So this guy is moving the license plate from Tesla to Tesla as he gets new cars. And we've just been we were searching for this for a super long period of time. And again, every 6 months or so, someone will post it on Twitter or on Reddit.
There was one point where we DM'd the person really quickly and was able to get whoever took the picture to leave a note on the guy's
Yeah.
windshield, remember?
Yeah.
We were like,
literally were able to get the guy to leave a note, and we still got nothing.
Yeah.
So for some reason, this person that owns this license plate does not want us to talk to them, which seems confusing when you make a plate about a YouTube channel that you like that you don't want to be on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I can only assume. I don't know of any other MKBHDs, so I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But that, this person, for whatever reason, wanted to rep it, successfully got the plate in California, registered it, put it on their car. I think you pay for that too.
Yeah.
I believe
Got
so.
it. And then doesn't want to talk to us at all.
Yeah. You know what's funny is MKBHD is available in New York, and I almost got it.
That's how you wrap the podcast. Is it's David
Yeah.
the whole time?
Yeah. I think it's also available in like Pennsylvania. I talked to Brendan and Vin about us all getting MKBHD license plates because we're all registered in different states, and it would just be really funny.
That would be a crazy
Anyway.
parking lot. Yeah.
At one point, we found the car at the Fremont factory, and
Oh,
you
right.
took a photo with it.
Okay, so yeah, we did.
Yeah.
We did. The last part of the story is we went to.
I'm like, how close are we to doxing?
Yeah,
we're
no,
so close.
We went to the Fremont factory because we were shooting a video about the Model Y. And that day, I saw a tweet in my mentions of like, hey, is this you at the Tesla factory? And while I was at the Tesla factory.
Well, I think we went back to our hotel and we drove back to the factory.
Right, because that tweet showed up and it was like, this car is like parked in the parking lot. And I was like, what are the chances I actually find this car in person in real life? So we went back out to the factory. It's still sitting in the spot that tweet was. So I took a picture with that car. I posted it saying it's not me.
Yeah.
So that once and for all, people know that it's not me, but also I've seen the car. And that's probably the end of it.
It also wasn't like
never
the
know.
public parking spaces of the Fremont factory, not even in like special employee things. It was just like
just
right
one of
out
the
in
spots.
front.
Yeah. Yeah, we also like did a bunch of random other investigative stuff. Like we called the DMV and we filled out this like freedom of information form, and they had specifically ticked their information to be hidden if you like search them. We paid money to infochaser.com to like
I forgot about that.
Yeah, we paid $5 for like a month subscription to
No.
we
You paid a lot more than that.
I paid a lot more than $5 because it was one of those things where I forgot to cancel this. I think I paid $60 in total for this.
Yeah, you came back like 7 months later, like,
I was like,
bro,
oh,
remember this
no."
thing?
But it's one of those things where you can like put in a license plate or put in a phone number and like pull up information about a person.
Like what cops have?
I guess. I mean,
I don't think so.
I
I
doubt
think
it's quite like that.
it's like public information that they just like gather in one spot. It's not like actual legal information that like cops have access to.
Also, you all were planning on figuring it out and then asking him if he was interested in being
Yeah,
part of the podcast.
totally.
We weren't going to go dox anyone.
No,
we
no,
just
no,
thought it would be a fun story for them to finally like
we wanted to
explain
know
why,
like, why
if
did
they
you get
wanted to.
this? Yeah, why did you
Yeah.
get this license?
Because even I would have been happy with the end of the story being, oh, he didn't want to talk to us.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
perfect. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Wrap a bow on
Still
it.
an
But his
ending.
message to the world
it's just a
was
question
blank.
mark.
It's like, no,
Also,
no.
speaking of like long form episodes and Tesla related things, we were also planning this long form episode where do Tesla employees find out things based on Elon tweets? And I can't like name any individual people, but I've spoken to a ton of people that said that is the case, but none of them were willing to be on the record.
I don't think anyone's surprised by
so
that answer.
I have also been told by a Tesla employee who won't be named, no information given, but said several of the design choices on the project that he was working on were because in passing, Elon was like, no, it should be able to do this. And then walked
Yeah.
away and saying Elon choices on the project that he was working on were because in passing, Elon was like, no, it should be able to do this. And then walked
Yeah.
away. And they're like, okay, that's...
Yeah. Apparently they completely like changed the modeling for the Cybertruck based on Elon saying like tweeting something out about it, and someone I know like went to the design team and was like, you guys know about this? And they're like, what are you talking about? And he pulled up a tweet and they were like, oh my god.
That's how you should start communicating to us.
Yeah, just start tweeting. And like dropping the tweet link in the Slack. Just so
New
you guys see
waveform
it.
episode tomorrow.
Crazy how @David needs to do this later today.
Yeah.
And also, at this point, if you wanted to wrap that episode up, all of the intro stuff was when we were audio only.
Yeah.
So it's like
Yeah.
probably not even possible.
If we find this person, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'd
We
figure
should
it
just
out.
say also, we're not mad.
no.
disappointed.
Do you know why?
No, we're not mad. Like we're not trying to find you so that
no.
that we can be like, why'd you do this?
I just
Like,
want to shake your hand, bro.
I mean, when you
Take
get
a photo.
tagged in it every couple months, it's super intriguing.
Yeah.
yeah. So if you think we're mad and that's why you didn't, it's cool. We're not.
I think it just makes it more interesting that this person seemingly doesn't want to talk.
Maybe they don't watch the channel.
I want it to be the wildest coincidence
Yeah.
ever. It would
He
be
has 5
so
kids.
funny if it just means something else, and he has like no idea who Mark is.
But- hilarious.
Mary, Kevin, Brandon, Harold, and David, his 5
If
children.
he had no idea, it would be more likely that he would like text us or respond and be like, "Yeah, who are you guys?"
That would
Instead
be
of- he
really weird if he just got
intentionally- We had someone leave a note on his car.
That's creepy.
yeah, maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe he's like, dude,
like
they're really
weirded
trying
out.
to get me.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he thinks we're mad.
I'm sorry if
We're
that
not
was
mad.
the case.
I know. If you're hearing this, we're not mad.
Yeah, we're
we're
sorry.
actually just disappointed that you won't even reach out.
Also, just to clarify, we keep saying he because people have told us that they've seen a dude driving
Yeah,
a car.
yeah.
We're not just.
So I
Someone
was
also said they saw him get out of the car and go into a restaurant, which is creepy. Please.
Just
Follow them.
please don't harass this guy
Yeah.
or follow this guy around.
Yeah.
I think the story kind of ends here. We're just like, okay, it is assumed that this person has decided they do not
Yeah.
want to be a public figure, and that's
Correct.
totally
Which is
That's okay.
why this has basically been abandoned at this point because we don't want to be.
Yeah. We're still holding out hope that something random might happen and this story might come together.
I will say this reminds me that the two stories we have regarding Teslas have both led to dead ends.
That's true.
Tesla's a weird company.
I mean, they don't even have a marketing department.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Well, you want a story that's the opposite of a dead end?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a lot to do with the marketing department.
A marketing department doing splitting something into 1,000 pieces. Dyson.
Dyson.
Y'all remember Dyson? Dyson's had their fair share of waves actually in the tech community for a while. They had
Yeah.
those headphones with the filter. They've got new headphones out now. They have fan cult favorite products. People
Vacuum
love their
cleaners.
vacuum cleaners.
Hair
People love
dryers.
their hair dryers.
Hair dryer, yeah.
Bladeless fans and all this stuff.
By the way, there's
Dude.
a How I Built This episode with the guy that runs Dyson, who
listened
is
to it.
like the son of the guy that invented the company or whatever. Yeah, very good episode. And
Hardcore
like
design.
they just love suction, you know?
Yep.
Just love it.
Dyson.
Yep.
We suck.
That would be an amazing motto. Okay, anyway.
So anyway, okay, so their vacuums are very popular. So I think this is something that happens actually a lot here, which is I will get an email for an offer to do some collaboration or a sponsored thing, and I've mentioned this before. I say no to 99.99785% of the things that we get. But something that happens a lot is we say no to something, and then 3 weeks later, my sub box is filled with the thing that I said no to.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like a company saying, hey, we want to offer you this exclusive first look at something. And then I say no. And then 3 weeks later,
Somebody
it's
else
on
has the
5 other YouTube channels
Yeah.
or 1 or 2 other, whatever it is. We see that happen all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't remember exactly when this was. This was
Oh,
a
I
couple
do.
years
I looked
ago.
way too deep into this
I think
from
this
the
was like,
past. Yeah,
it was 2017.
It was March 2018.
So
I-
2018.
Yeah, I remember this whole thing.
Yeah.
So
So
funny.
I get an email from Dyson reaching out, and they're like, "Would you like to do a sponsored video with one of our vacuum cleaners?"
Dyson
It's
V10.
Dyson V10,
Which is a
and it was a new
great
vacuum
vacuum
cleaner.
cleaner.
And
by
I'll
the
be
way.
honest, bro. I use a Dyson vacuum at home. I bought one. I hang it on the. I have a whole
Dyson
setup.
Enjoyer.
Like it's
Do
great.
you have the wall mount?
Yeah, I have a wall mount, and so I have to
Dang.
like route a cable up to it and like plug it in, and it, like clicks on there. It's like
Wow, no need to brag. Bro.
I know I'm already a customer. So like I saw this email and I was like, oh yeah, no, that's
yeah.
seems
It sounded exactly the same.
seems like a good fit. So I juggled the idea around in my head. I was like, how does this be a natural fit? And you've seen our videos before. We try to make it a natural fit into the video. Considered maybe a studio tour with like a section about the vacuum in the studio. I don't know.
We tried,
We tried.
yeah.
It just didn't really work
Yeah.
out. I couldn't really think of anything.
Do you know what's funny? When you said no, you're like, but I do love it at home, and you ordered one for the studio.
Yeah.
You didn't even ask them to send one. You're just like, oh, we should have one of those for the
right.
studio, though. And then you bought one
That's
and then
right.
said no.
I
yeah.
ordered one.
So instead of
after
them paying you money, you paid them.
yes.
Oh, check.
Their marketing
So-
department had 100% conversion in that conversation. Okay, they're clearly doing something
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So all that happens, right? Fast forward a couple weeks, and I log into YouTube in the morning,
March 6th.
March 6th. And there's a couple videos all sponsored by Dyson. Some of them just dedicated videos about the vacuum. Some of them like integrations or
No, they
larger.
were all dedicated.
They were all dedicated.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt sometimes just because I like went down. I searched for Dyson tweets from March 6, 2018 and found the timeline of all of this.
okay.
And yeah.
So here's why it struck me. I remember saying no to this, and I remember them going like, here's the date that you'd publish this, and there was a time. And there was a couple of videos at the top of my sub box, and I said, oh wow, a couple of them at once. That's pretty sizable, pretty big integration. And then a couple hours later, there was another wave of more Dyson V10 videos. And then a couple hours later, there was another wave. And so it started being like there's this cascading wave of Dyson videos. And it struck me that they're kind of like on the hour. And I think my theory is that Dyson not only didn't tell any of these creators about any of the other integrations they were doing, but they also staggered the embargo times for all of these different projects that they worked on to cascade throughout the day instead of all dropping at once. Because let's be honest, 40 Dyson videos in your sub box all at once, you're skipping the whole thing.
Yeah.
But 3 in the morning, 3 in the middle of the day, 3 in the afternoon, 3 at night, you might click one of those.
Yeah.
And so that's what Dyson did. And I couldn't be happier I said no. But I did reach in, I definitely reached out to some creators that I knew were not allowed to yet publish their video before it went out. And they were seeing that and they were mad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so, yeah, I think the lesson of this story for sure is if you're a YouTuber watching this, if you're a creator, this is something we implement now. If you're going to do a collaboration with a company or a sponsored post or whatever, one of the questions you should always ask is, are there any other people on this campaign? That's the basic language. Are there any other people participating in this campaign? So that you know, hey, I might just be like by myself endorsing this product and I like it, but if there's 3 other people that I really do not want to be associated with also participating in this same campaign at the exact same time, even though it doesn't look like you're endorsing those people, optically, it's a little different. So you should be aware of those things. And this is a prime example of why you should be.
I would argue even if you are fine associating with those people, if it comes, so I looked up the times, videos are posted from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. in like a few different time slots. And a lot of those people are people we're super friendly with and like, but even if like you like something and a bunch of other creators you like post it just looks terrible. The optics are awful because everyone is obviously doing an integration, which are all disclosed. But when there's that many, it's annoying to have your
Mostly.
Were they? I don't remember specific ones that weren't disclosed.
Mostly
but-
disclosed, yeah.
Okay.
They're
I think I counted 10 other channels that day that we did not know about. And like, it's annoying for everyone else because generally people that follow us probably followed all those other channels. And now if their whole sub box is only this Dyson, Dyson is just taking the day over. And that sucks for general content
I
consumers.
just remember there was a lot of pushback because there were some computer hardware channels that I was following that just post like PC builds and graphics card reviews, and then one day they just all put out like a vacuum
I think I know
video, and it was super weird.
Yeah.
And it like blew up for everyone because the next day Gamers Nexus made a video just with like this crappy little
parody.
parody video of this like little shop vac that he had, and it was just like crappy B-roll
Awkward.
Which
around
is easy
it.
to dunk on him because like you already signed the thing. You can't like leave once, because if I was one of those creators who had like a you cannot publish until 3 p.m. contract, and I saw 3 posts at 10 a.m. and then a bunch more posts at noon and a bunch more, I'd be like, oh, if I had known about this,
especially because when we do embargoes, like there's kind of this unspoken rule in the industry that you can report on things that are already publicly available. So even if you've signed a embargo, if other people start publishing an hour before you can report on them publishing.
I would assume this one's different because those are embargoes based on just like if something is public knowledge, and these were contracts signed for
Like videos.
integration and like payments. So where a normal embargo doesn't have any payment involved in it. And then
Right.
but yeah, it was a wild day. I would argue we have gotten into the situation after that. It happened earlier this year. We were ready for an integration. We thought of a really funny way to incorporate it. Thought of this like whole script, everything. We're ready to shoot it. And then over the week of us preparing for it, a bunch of videos came out about it and that we didn't know about and were really poorly done when we thought of a pretty good way to do it. And we were like, this isn't worth it anymore. And we
we backed out.
backed out of it.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, from Dyson's point of view, banger campaign.
Yeah, you think?
The controversy literally got them more like visibility.
Dyson is no stranger to that.
Yeah, true.
But I think when they were planning it, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I think they probably believed that they were making it feel more organic. They probably thought that, if they all come out at the same time, that's going to look a little weird. So what if it looks like they're all just like organically posting on their own time, and it's just all on the same day?
Yeah.
That
The more
might
you
benefit
pay
them.
someone to be organic, the less organic it winds up being.
Yeah, which is, it's really tough to explain that to a marketing person.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
that's what it ended up.
There's always emails that are like, we want this to feel natural and feel like it would be normally in your content. So make sure that you say these things.
Yeah.
I remember I got an email once that basically said, you can say a couple of negative things about the product to make it seem natural, but otherwise try to make the mix like 90-10. Yeah. And
People
I was
ask for
just
some
like, this is so messed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously just deleted that email.
I want to end this with one thing I'm pretty proud of after all of this is next day we released the Apple ecosystem explained, and we put this banger little Easter egg in it where
a Dyson joke?
yeah, Marquez gets a notification on his watch from Dyson saying collab ? And he just quick replies, nope.
Damn. That's pretty rough.
This is the day after. I was pretty.
That was my little replication of real life, because that's actually what we said. It was no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say no. Say no more often, guys.
Say noted.
It's a great tool to have.
I will say, yeah, I don't know. It's cool that Dyson and Bose are both private companies, and I think that's cool.
Again, we like the vacuum so much.
I know, this is the thing. Like, I literally recently bought one, and I'm not just trying to endorse it, but they are a great product.
No, I've said
so I am endorsing it.
a product that I think lives up to the hype is Dyson stick vacuums.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I will say they feel cheapish
Because they're light.
because they're so light and they're like kind of plasticky, but the suction is so good.
And
Was that the one negative thing you were allowed to say?
That was my
Sorry, I was
but the suction is so good.
and
Was that the one negative thing you were allowed to say? Sorry, I was
I've treated mine so poorly. Like the amount of time I've like knocked it off my wall, knocked it on the floor, dropped it 3+ feet.
True.
Fine.
Yeah, saying
totally fine.
It feels kind of cheap because it's so light. It's kind of like, what's your biggest flaw in a job interview? And being like, I'm a productive
perfectionist.
sometimes. I don't know how to stop working.
It feels like I don't have any free time. So busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time. So yeah, now you know the backstory
Oh.
of our perspective on
of March March 6th.
of the Dyson incident
Yeah, that day sucked.
in the best way. We're gonna take a quick break, but when we come back, we got a couple more. We got some FBI stories,
Nope,
etc.
no break.
We'll be right back.
Let's do it.
All right, welcome back. We've got some more stories for the Storytime bonus episode. This one is sort of, I was gonna say like a flagship story, but it's just our weirdest story. It's just our weirdest story. But it's that time that the FBI surprised us and showed up and investigated at the studio.
This music with talking about the FBI coming in the studio is
Play some
hilarious.
music. It'll be better.
Vaguely threatening.
Yeah. So, okay, a little background. Our video studio is inside of a larger building, as many are. So there are lots of other tenants here, and there's a front desk, and there's security, and there's all this stuff, and we're one of the tenants in the building. So I've been in this building for a while, and we have a pretty good relationship with them. And so one thing that happens, because we are a public YouTube channel, is sometimes people decide to show up.
Don't.
Yeah, please don't.
do that.
Don't do
And because people aren't supposed to do that, I've actually talked to the front desk and security, and we figured out a rule, which is when I do expect people to come over, because it's like, you know, Mr. Mobile might come over and show me clicks, or like a briefing might happen, and Samsung, whatever, people come over. If they show up to the front desk and say, I'm here for Marquez, he will go, you have to get Marquez to come outside and meet you at the front. That way, if I don't know who they are or I'm not expecting them, I don't show up. That's fine. If I do know who they are and I am expecting them, I go out, I meet them, I bring them back to our spot. That's the only rule,
Good
right?
system.
So, you know, we've had this rule be this thing for many years. We've been in this building. It's been great. So one day, what year is this? This is a couple years ago.
2020.
Right? 2020? Oh, yeah, you're right. So we're brand new in this space down here. And I get a little knock on the door. And so this is like pretty...
That was really good.
That was good. So this is like early in the morning. We get a knock on the door. I'm there alone. I open the door, and it's our front desk guy, and he goes, hey, Marquez. So there's some people at the front here to see you. They have some badges. You can go out and see them if you want. That's it. And just walks away.
No other context.
That's some
Just they have badges.
That's
You're going to
it.
be arrested.
There's some people
what I
with
would-
badges
I love-
here to see you.
I love it. That's like, run if you need to right now. Like,
Giving you the
And I was like,
opportunity.
I could
Get
tell
out.
like every part of him was like, I think I should probably have let them in, but I'm just doing our rule thing here
Yeah.
where I'm not going to let them in, but just so you know, there's some people with badges here to see you. And I told them they can't come in.
What a real one.
That is it. So first of all, shout out to our guy for sticking to the rule.
Yeah.
That was great. But now I'm standing alone in the studio like, what did I do on the way here to have people with badges show up at 9 o'clock in the morning to the studio? What possibly have been? I had
Possibly.
no idea. But I was like, you know what? I'll just go out to the lobby and just, I don't know, just see what's going on. So I walk out to the lobby, and sure enough, there's several FBI agents standing there. They all flash their badges just like in the movies. And they're like, hi, I'm FBI agent, blah, 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 blah. Good to meet you. We just have a couple questions for you about the Pablo Escobar phone. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, we can talk. So I brought them back into the studio. And 9 o'clock in the morning, empty studio, table in the middle. It was kind of dramatic because we had just moved and there was like no furniture there, but it was just an empty table in the middle with a couple chairs and just them asking about that phone. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Escobar phone situation,
It's a whole thing.
a couple of months earlier, I had made a video about the Escobar. Wow, the company, the fact that they were coating these phones in gold and pretending to ship them out, and they'd ship them to influencers, but then scam a bunch of people out of money and not ship them, and so they were essentially running an illegal business. There's a whole bunch of things that they should be getting in trouble for.
They were just first generation Samsung Galaxy Folds with like the Escobar logo on them.
It started as a Royale Flex Pi, and nobody got those.
Years earlier.
That phone is terrible, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Everywhere.
Then it was the original Fold that just had this crappy gold plating on it, and then just like they already logged in and put a like mugshot of Pablo Escobar like as the wallpaper.
Yeah.
And then they actually went one step further and then did an gold iPhone 11 Pro, which at that point they were in on the whole thing of like, well, we're just refurbishing these and selling them for cheaper because of Apple. They had a wild marketing campaign where it was like they bought ripsamsung.com and ripapple.com.
Because they started off calling it the Escobar phone.
Yeah.
They weren't calling it a Samsung phone at first. They were saying, we have made a folding phone and we're selling it for cheaper than Samsung. And when I had eventually gotten that device and I peeled the gold off, it was just the Samsung phone we all knew it was.
Yeah.
And so the only way for them to be selling this phone for a couple $100, which is less than what it was costing, is if they weren't actually doing that.
Yeah.
So
I have a question about this.
Yeah.
In their scamming theory. Do you think their theory from the start was just like, we're actually going to trick people to thinking this is a new phone and we're just not going to send it? Or there's this weird thing where it was $400, the actual phone was $1,000. Do you people were buying this phone despite it looking like a scam, but I think it's because they were trying to pull one over on the Escobar people, thinking like, that's $1,000 phone, but I can get it for $400 and just peel the gold off the back, and then also getting scammed. But do you think they thought that, and that was their like, we're gonna pretend to be dumb, and then still scam them?
It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I don't think
because it's so insane that it feels like parody. Like they released a little booklet with it with a picture of Pablo Escobar on the front that says, "I made billions selling cocaine. Now my smartphones will destroy Apple and Samsung," which is just
direct quote.
Yeah, direct quote. Direct quote. They had these crazy photos of like almost naked models with just like the phones just unfolded around their privates. It's like. It was so, and they had a video. There were
a lot of videos.
There was videos about this with like tons of coke and like naked people and phones.
Yeah, on YouTube.
On
YouTube.
One was about how they're gonna like cook Apple by like it was a bunch of like women in underwear essentially, and they had a bunch of iPhone 6s they kept like putting on grills and lighting on fire, and like it was very
smashing
strange.
them.
Yeah.
Weird thing. I mean. Maybe there's a world where they thought that they could trick people into thinking that they were going to get everything that they were saying.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say.
But it feels like so much like parody.
It does.
That it's hard to think that they couldn't have been like, if we make this look like a parody, then people might actually buy it because they think it's funny because there's like an irony to it.
I'm not totally sure. And it worked too, because I believe for the first phone, they were using Klarna, and Klarna froze their account and it had like $400,000 in it or something like that.
Yeah. Because again, I think a lot of people were like, well, if I don't get it, it's $400. Yeah. But if I do, and it's a good story. Yeah. But if I do get it, I get $1,000 phone for $400. Yeah. And I get to tell people that I bought a drug lord's phone.
And I'm super cool now.
Yeah.
Marquez, I have a question.
Yeah.
So the whole walk to the studio that morning, it's a pretty long walk.
And like with them following
him? With them following you. Like what's going through your mind? Were you guys talking? Were they saying anything? Was it just silent?
Anxiety.
So when they met me at the door, they showed their badges, and I was freaking out inside. I was very confused. I was like, I can't imagine what they're here for. But I think they immediately were like, yeah, we would like to talk about, we're doing an investigation about this Escobar phone or whatever. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, thank God. Oh, wow. I can help you with that. Okay, I will snitch. Yes, that's me. So from then, yes, I just like was like, yeah, come back to the studio. And yeah, I guess that was probably a quiet walk. But eventually, like, I like talked to them. They had a whole bunch of questions that made sense, like what were your communications with them, can we see the phones? They took the phones as evidence. They sealed them up in plastic bags and took them as evidence.
Were you still logged in?
I never logged into those.
I did not log into those.
Yeah, I did not log into those phones.
You just found the like receipt for them taking that for evidence, right?
I did, yeah. I still have
That's
this paper.
pretty awesome.
Because when they left, they left me with, let's not talk about this until, this case is like wrapped up someday. So just like, consider this confidential. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to tell a soul about this, but someday I will be able to. So I'm keeping this paper. I'm keeping all of this. And then we kind of just figured like maybe we should figure out how long it's going to be.
Can I step back a little bit?
Yeah.
So my morning that day, this was also, I'm realizing how wild the timing was because this was June 2020. So at that point, the only time I was coming into the
Andrew thì có vẻ nhớ mốc thời gian rõ ghê ta. Từ đấy giờ mấy lần rồi đấy.
office was once every other week to record the podcast. And then I was leaving and editing at home.
Oh.
So I happened to come in that morning. I parked the car outside and I had an email that said, it was just subject Escobar phone. It was from somebody that said their name and then in parentheses FBI from an FBI.gov web account. And she said, "Hi, Mr. Brownlee. We would like to speak to you in regards to the Escobar phone. We are currently in the lobby of your building. If you come downstairs or contact me at a number, thank you, Special Agent blank." And so I had the public email address coming to me, so you never got this email. I parked my car and was like, are we getting spoofed? Is like somebody trying to scam us or something? The easiest way to figure this out is if I park at the front of the building and come in the front instead of the side entrance, they don't know who I am or that I work for you. So I can walk by and see if there's people that look like agents, and then I can come in and tell you about it.
Yeah.
Because it was like they sent it a few minutes before I got there. Scouting, yeah. So I walk into the lobby and no one's there. I'm like, someone's trying to scam us. Somebody spoofed this email address. And I walk down ready to tell Marquez this funny email that I got. And then I see him in the middle of the room as I'm opening the door with 3 people in suits. And Marquez is just waving me in. And I'm like, what is happening? And then
I maintain that you should have just turned around and started running.
I don't know if that would have.
Neither of you guys, between finding out that you were about to talk to the FBI and talking to the FBI, neither of you reached out to a lawyer, did you?
No.
Bold.
Well, because I
I was too late. Marquez waved me in. At that point,
they told me what they were going to ask me about, and I was immediately like, "Oh, I am not in the wrong here. I am just helping with evidence collection for a case against someone else."
That's still a very valid question, Ellis.
Look, Matt Damon, fortune favors the bold. Let's get it, boys.
But so when I came in, that was the point. I had been the one who got all the emails from them because it was at the like business account. And yeah, they basically just said, "Can you forward me all of those emails?" They asked if there's any other sort of information we might have of like who they might contact. And we told them about, they were running this weird thing on their YouTube page where they paid a couple random celebrities to do cameos talking about how cool the phone is.
They didn't say they were cameos though. They just uploaded the videos of people endorsing their phone.
Chris Hansen.
Nice.
It was this Swedish figure skater, I believe.
Checks out.
Anna something. And it was Corey Lewandowski, Trump's former campaign manager. Those were the 3 people. So not that Cameo's the one doing that dealing, but we let them know about that. And other than that, they just asked the questions. They did take the phones.
Yeah.
We have not seen them again since.
That's correct.
And you referenced it a couple times. You mentioned it one time at the end of a smartphone awards,
Yeah, I said like I'd like to be able to tell the story someday. About
What you said, I
this
think
phone.
that's what you said on a Reddit AMA on the smartphone awards. You just said like, here are all the phones from this year. The Escobar phone is missing because the FBI has it. And you just kind of like brushed it off.
I did do that.
And Reddit was like not sure if you were joking or if that was real. And there were some people like, I can't wait to hear that story. And a bunch of other people who are like, that's just a joke. Come on. There's no way that's real.
Yeah.
But that was 4 years ago. The reason we feel finally comfortable to talk about it now is because the guy Olaf who ran that whole company is now in jail in Spain and for
I did not know
fraud
that.
and a bunch of other things.
snap.
And there's potential talks about him possibly being extradited to the U.S. to be investigated, I believe.
Do not come to our studio.
I don't think you can come to a studio when you're in jail, but yeah, so I don't believe we will be interrupting any investigations at this point.
Also, didn't they kind of wrap this up like a year or so ago? I thought something happened with this case.
Well, in December, he got picked up in prison
Got
in
it.
Spain.
Nice.
That's everything I've had to read about this is in Swedish, so I have to translate it all.
Yeah.
Can I just
And-
say that I remember the first time Marquez mentioned this to me while I was just like walking around the studio. He's like, "Oh yeah, you know, when the FBI took the phone, whatever, blah blah blah," and I like did a hard 180, like, "What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?"
It's also not the only time the FBI has contacted us about something.
It's true. Yeah.
After the meme coin video,
Yeah.
where we talked about the influencers we got emails from Tron, the crypto
Yeah.
company,
I remember
asking
that.
us to do an
Undisclosed.
undisclosed, yes,
Asking us to do
tweet.
something super illegal.
Yeah, just straight up. And not only asking us to do something illegal, naming the other people that did the illegal thing in the email. So you mentioned that in a video, and they pretty much were like, I think they needed us to send the emails to them again.
Yeah.
And that one was fairly quick. We didn't get to see any FBI agents, but
Yeah.
it more than once.
I'm not a very smart guy. You know, last week I said a Southeast Asian country, which when I in fact meant Nepal, which is not in Southeast Asia. That's just in South Asia. So, you know, not the smartest guy here, but I would never ask someone to do something illegal in a DM
and
and then name my accomplices in
No,
the
it's
same
wild.
DM. It's like
To later get screenshotted and put into a video. Am I a snitch? Is that just what I do?
no
snitching on reasonable things.
Ellis only
Screenshot, put
asked
in
that
video.
of the podcast audience.
commit crimes. Do it.
That is a soundbite.
But clearly I'm brain cells ahead of these meme coin folks.
Well, that was a marketing agent for a meme coin. So like you've got two levels of cluelessness going on, I think.
Yeah. Was that after we made a Dogecoin
It
explain?
was that
it
video
was in
that
that video.
Marquez put in the video.
Yeah.
That email.
Yeah.
Man, that was a wild time.
TLDR: if you're doing some illegal stuff, don't email
Don't.
us.
Write it
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
we don't want to be involved.
All these waves.
we will snitch.
We will snitch.
You're going to end up on YouTube, man.
Sorry, David.
There's all these waves of like tech scams that just keep coming through, you know? There's all that crypto, and then there was all the metaverse stuff.
Yep.
Now we're probably going to find out most of this AI stuff is just is smoke and mirrors,
It's just waves and waves of
which
it.
we kind of already know.
Yeah.
But
So that's that.
Anyway, yeah.
Well, yeah. Ideally, we have a much more fun retelling of that
Sure,
on the
yeah.
main channel.
Xem
which
nốt
is a
đi,
good
xem nốt
time.
đến đây đi.
We're gonna take another quick break, but we do have a couple more fun stories
Hay
to
đến
close
đây.
it out. So we'll be right back.
Đây, xem đây đi. 15 phút nữa.
All right, welcome back. Couple more short stories for you, all of which are untold in the channel's
This is
history.
Untold, yeah.
But all of which are hilarious from our perspective, or at least worth telling. Okay, next one is a CES story. It's the story of how I became a villain. For at least 24 hours, I was hated.
couple weeks, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, really? A couple weeks. Well, because the video had to come out. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for a while.
I still hate you.
Yeah. Well, big time hated guy from this. At the time, and this was again 2019, before I had ever watched any Formula One. This was around the time where Lewis Hamilton was like winning everything, and that's all I really knew about Formula One at the time. But okay, so we're at CES 2019. And CES, for those who don't know, for a tech YouTuber, is a very hectic time.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be hectic or less hectic depending on what you make of it. But for someone like me, we are bouncing around between things we're trying to do at CES. Going to a meeting, and then going to see a thing, and then going to shoot a thing, and then going to shoot a different thing that we got told about, and then going to another meeting, and then going across to this thing outside of the convention center. And it's very busy. It's a couple of days of that.
And they're like, that convention center is big. It's not just like,
the
oh,
biggest.
I want to see this thing.
Large.
It's a couple minutes away. It could be a 20-minute walk away. It could be an hour-long taxi car ride
One
away.
time I left a tripod at a OnePlus briefing and went to another briefing. Literally, yeah, that's
That's the first time we ever
I
saw you.
met
Yeah, you almost collapsed on the floor in front of us.
because I sprinted back from like
Yeah.
a 45-minute walk across the. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah,
Go on.
there's stuff in the convention center. There is stuff in the hotels outside the convention center. You know, booths, like meeting rooms, all kinds of setups.
I actually find that that's hilarious. That the first thing you ever saw from me was me being like,
We were like eating on this table, and you like literally came up to the table and just went like this.
That's the most CES thing I've
indicative
ever
of what was
heard.
to
That
come.
is CES. That is CES.
Anyway, continue.
So okay, so we're in the thick of it in this CES, and I do remember. I mean, people come up to me at CES and take either pictures or like want to say hi, and I'm totally cool with that. I will say hi to people and take pictures with people at CES. This is pre-COVID as well, so like we're just shaking hands, talking. It's great. It's a good time. CES, you get to meet people, huh?
Kissing babies.
Was this CES 2020?
2019.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, 2020 actually, funny enough, was the year I was like, I get sick every year at CES, so you know what I'm going to do this year? Fist bumps only. And that year, I went around saying, "Hey, no one gets sick this year, right?" Fist
Super
bumps for everybody.
spreader.
And then it was at that moment that
Yeah.
everyone got
Spoiler
sick.
alert, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, CES, we're hauling around, we're busy, we're shooting a bunch of stuff, and trying to be courteous in between things. So I remember we were on our way. I want to say it was from Razer or to Razer.
We were in the Mercedes booth going to Razer, and if
Yeah.
you've been to CES, the auto booth, I think is the
South
North Hall,
Oh,
and I think the Razer booth is generally in the East Hall. They are extremely far away. They are as far away on the convention floor as possible.
yeah. So I'm trying to like hustle my way across to make this meeting. On my way, someone like sort of stops me and goes, "Hey, you're the guy from." Now, pause. Everyone has a different way. This is something I've noticed. Everyone has a different way of like trying to explain that they know who you are, whether it's you're the guy with the iPhones, right? Or my son knows your videos. I've seen your video. I've heard your voice from his bedroom. Like everyone has a different thing that they say. What this guy said was, you're the YouTube guy. My friend really likes you.
boss.
My boss really wants to meet you. Hang on here for a second. I'm gonna go get him. Okay. So I'm like, I'm kind of on my way to something. I can give this guy a minute or two. Maybe he wants a picture or something. I can say hi, and I just need to keep going. So I literally wait there with all my bags and stuff, and like this guy disappears into this booth, comes back out with another guy. He goes, "Hi, good to meet you," and he's filming me now. Okay.
Oh no.
So now he's filming me, and this guy comes out, "Hey," and I think he basically just says like, I'm Nico. You know that guy Lewis Hamilton? Yeah, I beat him. I'm the guy that beat him. And I'm like, okay, great. Keep in mind, I am not watching Formula One at this time, so I don't actually know really what that means. I know that Lewis Hamilton is an F1 driver, and I know that's impressive, but I didn't really know what to say.
You
so I
mean
just
you
kinda
are
didn't
Michael
say much.
Schumacher?
And I think he says one or two other things like,
Felipe
I don't even
Massa?
remember.
This-
Like, nice
so-
to meet you. Like, have
Well,
a
it's
good
in
time
his
to see you guys.
videos, so
This whole interaction happens.
Nico biết kênh này. Nico Rosberg. Nhưng mà không biết ông này ông nào, chỉ biết là kênh channel này.
We end it. I shake hands, and I'm like, all right, well, I gotta go. See you later. And I keep going to my meeting. I shake a few other hands on the way. Fine. A couple weeks later, I log into YouTube. I think actually probably on Twitter. And everyone on Twitter's like, why is Marquez such a jerk? Like, why is he such a dry, unenthusiastic person? And I go, what's going on? And this ended up in a Nico Rosberg blog. Now, hindsight, now I know who Nico is. Now I know a little bit about F1. And obviously he's a Formula One world...
Giving Nico no love. Not everyone know F1 guys. But come on now. I completely Nico own nice, and I do not care, man. Stop talking.
Champion. This is a huge deal for a lot of people, and so he's going around, and it's kind of a huge deal that he knows who I am, and like he's already enthusiastically chatting about CES. The fact that he's at CES at all is cool. I didn't know any of this at the time, but my interaction comes off as kind of like trying to dismiss him and like leave when I kind of don't know what's going on and got ambushed with a camera. So that happened, and now I am a converted F1 fan, and I'm
It's all come full circle.
Huge fan of Formula One. Didn't know at the time.
If I have to say, also, it's not only that like we were trying to get somewhere, you weren't expected a camera to come up and start getting interviewed.
Yeah,
but he very obviously, when you've been to CES a couple times, 90% of the stuff is garbage and will never happen. And he was like, oh, I saw this really cool like helicopter bike that you don't need any permits to drive, and he's like showing you a video on his phone, and like to him that was probably really cool because at CES your first time and you're not that into tech. That is wild. All of us would have seen that on the floor and been like, never gonna happen, and just walked straight past it. So like it was also showing stuff we knew, which is pretty much vaporware. So like the video is him showing you that on his phone, you trying to get out of there and feeling kind of dismissive, which it looks not great, but like we had a very long walk to go to a meeting and didn't know who he was at that point.
I was then late for.
There are a lot of comments that are not very happy.
Yeah. So yeah, that is a fun story with a not so fun ending, but it did happen. So my I would say that probably the guy who stopped me to go grab Nico probably should have mentioned that he was going to film.
Possibly.
That would be my
it's not.
Or who his boss was, or like anything.
Or that.
But yeah, Nico's still vlogging, by the way. He just got some crazy F1
Yep, I saw it.
hypercar from Mercedes.
Does he have a lot of
Mình có nhìn thấy.
views?
He gets it.
Million.
He has
This is a wild car though too.
Does he have a lot of subscribers?
Over 1 million.
for a vlogging former F1 champion, I think so.
Who doesn't need to vlog? Yeah.
It's just for fun. For the love of the game, David. You don't need
Champion rồi,
subscribers
ghê
if
vậy.
you just get cool cars and drive them for fun on camera.
Sao mình không biết ông này ta? Chắc là từ cái hồi mà mình đi học đại học. Chứ hồi mình xem Felipe Massa với cả Michael Schumacher thì mình không nhớ là có ông này.
Fair enough.
There's a whole subgenre of YouTube creators that is just like former professional athletes. Like him,
like Marquez.
Roy Hibbert.
Current professional athlete.
Marquez in the future will be a
Retired pro.
retired pro athlete.
Marquez is the other way, where it's like Marquez is a famous YouTuber who happens to be a pro athlete.
No.
Well, the other genre that's so popular now is active players with podcasts.
Yeah.
Super popular. NBA, there's like 7, 8, 9 big and active NBA player podcasts.
It's now we're in the era of active NBA players who are also analysts too.
Well, that's
they go on
Analyst?
analysts, which I think makes a lot of sense. But it is always fun to have like Draymond, like the night after a horrible game, like go on his podcast and address the comments about why he didn't pass it to Steph. Like that's pretty funny.
The one that makes the least sense now are the professional athletes that also decide they want to live stream things. And none of them are smart enough to maybe stop saying. There was like a Formula 2 driver that like said a bunch of really dumb and got dropped from his team because you decided to live stream.
Yeah, don't do it live. Run it past.
Well, don't do it at all, but definitely don't do it live.
Yeah,
It's-
but at least because these guys, they're not editing their own podcast. They hold up the mic and they say the thing, and then somebody edits it.
As
for
the
them.
old adage goes, if you're thinking about whether or not you should tweet it, you probably shouldn't.
Dang.
David and I have each other's backs when that stuff
Take away the keyboard.
Unplug it.
David's
Unplug
You're
it.
typing too fast over there.
What are you doing? Whenever I see you typing fast and I look at your monitor and it's Twitter, I'm like, oh no. Stop.
My favorite is when David's like, have you guys seen this guy that tweeted at us, blah, blah, blah? And we're like, oh, no, I haven't seen that. 3 seconds of silence and then just
Like, oh no.
Usually I don't send it.
And then you hear enter and you're like, oh no, he sent it.
Okay.
Let's delete now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's delete.
Xem
Try not to
Alright.
engage.
So
Mình
for
sẽ
the
không
next
xem hết
story,
cái này.
I just wanted to introduce this because we're all going to tell a quick little short story to wrap up this episode.
Rapid
Ellis
fire.
in the docs has Ellis dash pirate, and that's the story.
I'm very.
even- know
I'm
what
very
that
curious
means.
to see where this goes.
Yeah.
This is, I feel like, a forgotten part of my lore here at the office, and it's from just before.
Thôi. Mình sẽ dừng xem cái này và hôm thứ 6 mình sẽ xem tiếp. Còn bây giờ mình muốn xem cái Nico Rosberg. Đầu tiên mình muốn xem ông này là ai đã. Sinh năm bao nhiêu? 39 tuổi, sinh năm 85. Sinh năm 85, German. Finnish entrepreneur, former professional racing driver, him complete 20, đúng rồi đây, đến 216 à? Đúng là cái khoảng mà mình không xem ấy. 206 à? 206 à? Cho đội nào đây? 206 from cái gì? To William team William, ok, team William. He thought it could be a side Robert campaign champion. Go cut. Winning 9 race. 9 race mà có phải champion đâu. Ủa? World Championship Career á. Cho đội Mercedes. Cái gì đây? He was partner with 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher and a side cannot born after Schumacher requested Nova. Ủa, Michael Schumacher từng lái cho Mercedes á? He was partner with 7-time. Championship point. By the hiện tại world champion Lewis Hamilton. Time Michael Schumacher. Ủa? Mẹ. Ủa, có luôn à? Giờ biết là vụ Michael Schumacher có lái cho Mercedes. Mẹ. MERC. Hai người 2010 đến 2012, ok. Mercedes. Hai 16 retirement. F1 Championship all time. Đấy, xem kênh, xem cái chân cái link này là biết ngay là xem là đây nhá, từ 2006 đúng không? Ở đâu rồi? Sao nó không ship đây. Alonso, Raikkonen, Hamilton, Jensen Button không biết này, Vettel. 4 năm liền. 2016 Nico Rosberg. 2016. Uầy, từ 2014 đến 22 10 6 năm 7 năm là Mercedes hết. Red Bull. Lần gần nhất Ferrari đâu rồi? Lần gần nhất Ferrari là năm bao nhiêu? 2007 Kimi Raikkonen. F1 Champion. Ok, Championship. Nicolenberg MKBHD. 7 phút, xem hết 7 phút luôn.
Welcome to CES, it's finally open. I'm gonna go for it now and check it out.
Subscribe đi.
For success gambling, I started with $60 and I've ended up with 1,000. Yeah, blackjack, and then I put everything on red with the 500 and I put another 500. Anyways, we're here now at Scheffler and I'm gonna go check out like a hypercar that Scheffler has built, fully electric. Unbelievable. Here it is, Scheffler. So it's an A8 which they've transformed into fully electric. It has 4 individual electric motors for each corner. Check it out in the back, you can see them there. There's 2 of them right there. Each motor has 300 horsepower and they can be completely like independently driven. And so have a look, the thing can do a donut on its own axis. Like phenomenal stuff. And so it's a great car, 1,200 horsepower. Come along now, I'm gonna go into the conference center and I'm gonna show you the best new technology from the CES.
Mình sẽ cố gắng xem cái clip này nhà lần đầu tiên. Chưa có cái thông tin gì từ Market MKBHD cả. Xem có một cái nhận xét khách quan nhất xem là như nào.
I'm not so sure that these fit to the CES. I don't know how this is the most innovative tech in the world, but anyways, it's all about loudspeakers apparently. Yeah, so every second stand has a shuttle, like you see behind us, and none of them are able to drive. They're just concept cars that don't even have a chassis or anything. So that's a bit weird. It's like, it seems to be the trend anyways, to have to do, everybody has to do shuttles. Okay, I just dissed the shuttles, I'm taking everything back. Now we're at Mercedes, and this is some serious stuff. Let's go have a look at this, and I'm sure this one drives as well. It's the man himself, Mate, is back in the house, back on YouTube.
How are you, man? You good?
Everybody appreciated a lot the chat we had.
Yeah.
They were really like saying amazing comments, which was nice.
So you saw anything interesting for you?
I mean, this is cool, of course. Apart from that, it's a bit of a mess, I find, huh? It's like all over the place. Yeah. Okay, so I've been told to wait a little bit, but it's now, time is ticking, I can't be bothered anymore. Seems to be a big meeting going on in there, so let's just continue. Oliver, you can try and catch some snippets of it, but I'm not gonna go inside. The highlight is the casino in the roof, very Vegas style. We actually did get the chance to go into the shuttle with Mercedes. They came running after us, which was very nice. Thank you very much, Mercedes. But that's going to be a separate video, so please subscribe to my channel, and then that video will pop out very, very soon for you, and you can check out the Urbanetic shuttle from Mercedes. So this is just freestyle, or you have some collabs as well, or not?
I mean, we have a couple things set up for the rest of the week, but other than that, I'm just kind of seeing what's cool. So,
This looks pretty good there, Bell. Have you seen it?
no.
And another one is Hover Surf. So they have a drone which is like a motorbike, which you can fly yourself.
Okay.
You sit on it like a motorbike, and you not see that?
I'd like to. That sounds cool.
I'll show you.
Wow.
It's cool, huh? And they're here somewhere. I don't know where they are. And you don't need regulations to be able to fly it, because it's like counts as a ultra light or whatever like that.
Wow.
You go and use it now. They're going production in a year. Anyways, don't want to take more of your time.
It's all good. Good to meet you.
They're going production in a year. Like counts as a.
Ok, nếu mình xem bình thường thì đúng là mình sẽ không kiểu nghĩ nhiều ấy. Nhưng mà đúng là nếu mà mình quan sát thì đấy mình learn được, mình học được là đúng là mình không invest vào cái cuộc trò chuyện này thì nó sẽ bị khiến người khác hiểu là mình không quan tâm mà mình muốn té.
You not see that?
I'd like to. That sounds cool.
I'll show you.
Nhìn đi chỗ khác là một, trong khi đó ông này rất là kiểu muốn chia sẻ.
Wow. It's cool, huh? And they're here somewhere.
Nói ít là hai.
I don't know where they are. and you don't need regulations to be able to fly it because it's like counts as a ultra light or whatever like that. You go
Wow.
use it out. They're going production and anyways, don't want to take more of your time.
It's all good. Good to meet you. Yeah.
Right.
Have a good one.
As you saw, that was Marquise Brownlee, who's an absolute YouTube legend, and I'm a big fan of his channel as well, because mainly he's recently done a big coverage about Tesla and even did a huge interview with Elon Musk. And that was really impressive and really nice to listen to. So great to meet him. Amazing how like you just randomly meet these people here on CS. Mate Rimac, a couple of minutes later, Marquise Brownlee. Awesome, loving it.
F1 Championship mà, đúng không? Người ta rất là khiêm tốn nhỉ. I get no idea he was talking of one champion. Giving no love. No idea who Nico E. Along with seeing MKBHD not being bothered by Nico. Like what? Ok, rồi. Mình nghĩ là hôm nay mình dừng đến đây thôi. 10 giờ rồi, cũng chuẩn bị ngủ. Mai làm tiếp, còn nhiều thứ phải làm quá. Hy vọng là mai xong. Thế nha. Bye bye.